The phone search also revealed no indication of his political views. A lot of people saying, he's a Trump supporter. Wait, what? He's a Trump supporter? So he wanted to shoot him in the head? Are you listening to yourself, you insane person? Is there something moving up there? Is that a person? Is that a silhouette of a person? Is it a shadow? Is it an artifact? Maybe. Do you know why we don't know this? Your party's Secret Service director is not answering any questions. Your Homeland Security, not answering any questions. Your FBI director, you guys are hanging up on senators. This new timeline is devastating to the Secret Service. Shows that they were complicit in allowing the shooter to get up onto the roof, get set up. They brought Trump out onto the stage, and they allowed the shooter to then fire at him and hit him before they finally took him out. The timeline's insane, but here it is right out of the gate. Just ask yourself, every one of these entry points, okay, there are just 5 entry points here, but there are multiple other opportunities for somebody to do something to stop this, and it didn't happen. At 5:10, Crooks was first identified as a person of interest. Great, check him out. It's over. The whole thing's done. We have a living Corey, and Trump has his full ear. 5:30, nobody stopped him. Crooks was spotted with a rangefinder. Somebody could have stopped him. Nobody did. If they would have, we would have avoided this tragedy. At 5:52, Crooks spotted on the roof by the Secret Service. What's that person doing on the roof? Is it the same person of interest? Yes. Is it the same dude with a rangefinder? Yes. Somebody could have done something at 5:52. Nobody did. Another volitional act. I'm presuming that somebody's talking about this. There's conversations happening back and forth. Someone's got a person of interest, log that over, being logged in the radios, okay? Someone says, don't do anything about it. That's a volitional act. Spotted with a rangefinder. Should we do something? Not a big deal. Let him go. Another volitional act. Crook was spotted now on the roof. Dude is on the roof. Let him go. Not a big deal. Everything okay to bring the president out? Yeah, it's perfect. There's just a person of interest with a rangefinder on the roof. Bring Trump out. Sounds good. So Trump takes the stage at 6:02. The dude has 10 more minutes on the roof under Secret Service awareness to set up the gun and fire the bullets at 6:12. Crook fires the first shots. Some people say 6:11. Absolutely insane. And at every moment, at every juncture, somebody could have done something to stop it. And somebody clearly didn't. And in fact, in order for all of this to happen, it sounds like somebody's making multiple decisions to enable it. Complicit in this outcome. Their entire job is to prevent this from happening, to investigate this stuff. And they declined multiple times. And then they lied about it. Then they blamed the local police, and they're trying to cover it up because that's what this is, a cover up. So let's read the full story here. You can see it is wild. From CBS News, they say Secret Service spotted Trump and the shooter on the roof 20 minutes before gunfire erupted. Several law enforcement officials are the people who brought this to our attention. Snipers spotted him on the roof outside the security zone at the rally on Saturday. 20 minutes later, he shot. In the days since the shooting, the Secret Service come under scrutiny. They've been subpoenaed to testify. We'll see if they show up next week. We'll be here. The revelation of the timeline came as sources told ABC News that Crooks searched his phone for the images of Joe Biden and Trump and searched the dates of Trump's rally. The phone search also revealed no indication of his political views. A lot of people saying, he's a Trump supporter. Wait, what? He's a Trump supporter? So he wanted to shoot him in the head? Are you listening to yourself, you insane person? Well, he was a registered Republican. Okay. So he wants to shoot him in the head and vote for him at the same time or something? What? The FBI director, his deputy director, and the head of the Secret Service told lawmakers that Crooks was identified as a person of interest over 1 hour before the shooting took place. And the timeline, 5:10 identified, 5:30 rangefinder, 5:52 on the roof, 6:02 bring Trump out, everything's great. Then he starts blasting. From the time Crooks fired his first shot to the gunman being killed was just 26 seconds, man. So those sharpshooters were fast. 11 seconds after the first shot, Secret Service counter snipers acquired their target. 15 seconds after that, Crooks was shot dead. So is that one shot? Is it the one bullet we heard at the end was the final kill shot? Because that means those other 5 rounds were from another gun. Briefers told lawmakers that Crooks purchased an ammunition and maybe another shooter. Briefers told lawmakers that Crooks purchased an ammunition box at Walmart 2 days before the rally. Then July 13th, went to the rally site in the morning, was there for an hour, left, came back sometime early 5 p.m., tried to enter the security perimeter. New analysis by ABC News and their visual verification team reveals that one of the 2 sniper teams posted on top of the buildings repositioned before the first shots were fired. 3 minutes before the first gunshots rang out, the sniper team on the roof of the building the furthest away repositioned, turning from the south to the north in the direction of the shooter. They're looking over here. Oh, shoot, there's shots. The motive for the assassination attempt remains a mystery. Whoa. According to briefers, they've not been identified any ideological nexus to Trump or Biden. Based on the interviews with the parents, law enforcement told members they believe that neither has strong political leanings. FBI says we've conducted 200 interviews, though a law enforcement sources said Crooks is believed believed to have purchased a 5-foot ladder at Home Depot, does not appear to have been used to climb on the roof, and the ladder was not found at the scene. So here's a visual. Yeah, location of the shooter's body was right about here, and that seems about right based on where the blood was. Some people have him closer on to this side of the building. Some have him closer on this side of the building, but there were the two sniper teams near this barn here. This was a very sloped roof, much more sloped than this other roof, but they're saying that this sniper team north may not have been able to see him because this tree was blocking this line of sight. Now the water tower is back this way, and they're saying the water tower may have had a second shooter that launched projectiles into the bleacher here, or maybe over this direction, and actually hit the gentleman in the torso who was removed from the bleachers and exited this location. So then the south sniper team repositioned. They'd have a more direct line of sight over the shooter because they're not blocked by the tree, and maybe that's how it went down. Now Crooks was able to get a clear shot of the former president by scaling an air conditioning unit that's accessible from the ground. Wow, this guy's like Jason Bourne or something. Amazing. I wonder why they couldn't catch him. And pull himself on top of the building outside the security perimeter. So when everybody's calling this in, hey, 20 minutes ago, hey, there's a dude on the roof. They can't figure out how to get on the roof. So then the cops are like boosting each other up, right? Like boosted that one cop up. He falls, injures himself because he gets a barrel pointed at his face. So we got to put the cop falling off the roof into the timeline somewhere. He falls off, gets injured. They call it in. There's a dude who pointed a gun at cops on the roof. He's going to shoot Trump. Don't know when that call gets made. So maybe the shooter then hurries up and then they still allow him to shoot. So the snipers still don't act. And then he does shoot. So then they're trying to figure out, how do we get on the building? Nobody thinks to climb up the air conditioning unit, I guess. From there, he gained access to the top of the neighboring building, the sources said, just climbed up on an air conditioning. Witnesses told ABC News they saw him shimmying up the slope of the building. All the witnesses could see this, but the Secret Service and Homeland couldn't. Weird. Yeah, or maybe they didn't want to do anything about it. He got up to 8 shots at Trump. They say he got off up to 8 shots at Trump, but we think that there were 3 weapons. So did he use 2 weapons? Because he definitely sent off the first 3. Then there was the next batch of the 5. Then there was the one at the end for the 9. If we think that there were 9, some people say there might have been 11. We also think there might be 10 or 11, and one of those might have been the hydraulics breaking. So he got 8 shots. Did he use 2 guns? I don't think so. Not in those 26 seconds. So if we have 3 guns, the shooter's gun, the counter sniper's kill shot, where's the middle gun? Where'd that come from? Who was shooting that gun? Trump said he suffered a bullet wound to his right ear, and that was confirmed by the Secret Service, so it's not Trump said, ABC. 3 rally goers were also shot, 50-year-old volunteer Corey. Minutes before pulling off the assassination attempt, everybody saw Crooks walking around near the magnetometers where rally goers were being scanned for weapons. New bystander video shows Crooks pacing just beyond the boundaries, about 1 hour and 5 minutes before the shots were fired. Crooks' presence in the area of the metal detectors minutes before the shooting caught the eye of someone in law enforcement. He went to approach him. At that point, the would-be assassin backed up and faded into the crowd like a mysterious secret agent. Not clear how long before the shooting had happened. Between the time he was spotted near the magnetometers and when Crooks allegedly fired at Trump, there were 2 sets of radio transmissions. One reporting that police were looking for a suspicious person, and another more generic warning that officers were following up on something suspicious. As officers began searching for the suspicious person, he made his way up to the building. Now, yeah, at the time, the building, Crooks made his way to the area of the AGR building, the sources said. At the time, the building was being used as a staging area for local police who were inside the structure, said the Secret Service director. But that wasn't true. More specifically, ABC News said that there were local police in the AGR building. Investigators believed that they could have led to confusion as snipers were trying to determine where and whether the threat was coming from someone else. Now, the local cops were disputing this, as we covered earlier this week. The Secret Service requested, okay, this contradicts even this own story. So ABC News said that the Secret Service had local police in there as this was a staging area. No. Washington Post reported that the Secret Service requested a local police cruiser to be stationed at the AGR building, but the local cops couldn't even provide one. Okay, there was no staging area there. The Secret Service lied, and they knew that. The local police, they said, can you please help us? They said, no, we can't. They said, okay, I guess we'll leave it empty. And then they lied about that. So as the FBI investigation continued, questions swirled about how the gunman was able to get there. While Crooks was making his way, Secret Service agents were listening to radio traffic, heard local law enforcement talk about someone, and a confrontation involving the police. Butler County Sheriff said that he was informed by other law enforcement officials there was a suspicious person and actually put his weapon at some cop. Then shots rang out moments later. Cop falls off the side of the building. Then he hurries and shoots Trump. Suspicious devices. They also found a remote transmitter. The receivers were connected to a series of components that they say met the eye test that probably will blow up. Investigators also found a tactical vest. Unclear why he didn't wear it. Some investigators are wondering whether he anticipated dying in the attack. Shooter also asked his employer if he could take off on Saturday. Some people say he was bullied in the past. An examination of the phone hasn't turned up any evidence about the motives. Weird. Only routine information for a 20-year-old. Investigators have found that he was a loner. He was odd, according to preliminary preliminary findings, always. Multiple sources say FBI analysts are trying to assess whether he was hard to get close to or whether he was shut off. He had been bullied in the past, but not over the top, said one person. Investigators are also looking to see if he covered his tracks. Yeah, by using burners or other communication devices. What's he having to cover up? Who's he talking to? Or communication devices. The Pennsylvania State Police said in a statement that it provided all resources to the Secret Service, including 30 to 40 troopers, but was not responsible for securing the building, right? Or the property. No, we don't do that. That's your job. She lied, man. Cheadle confirmed that local police were present inside the building at the same time the shooter was on the roof, which also makes it even more incompetent. Like the cops are like, what's that noise up there? Is it raining? Is that thunder? Are those gunshots? They weren't in the building. Cheadle also said local authorities were tasked with securing the building. Lies and cover-up. She said, in this particular instance, we did share support with that particular site and that the Secret Service was responsible for the inner perimeter. And then we sought assistance from our local counterparts for the outer perimeter. Liar, 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 liar. The local police totally dispute that. Pennsylvania State Police says no. We gave them everything they wanted. We were not responsible for securing the building or the property outside the security perimeter where he opened fire. That's not our job. And now she's also ignoring senators and their demands. So interesting. Lies just continue to compound. The official timeline shows they wanted this puppy to happen. And so apparently we also see that the shooter had a final message that he sent out. Colin Rugg had this story for us, and here is what this post is. It says, according to Fox News, senior White House correspondent Jackie Heinrich, Crooks uploaded a message on Steam, gaming software, said something like, July 13th will be my premiere. Watch it as it unfolds. Investigators reportedly also found searches of Crooks' laptop, including Trump, Biden, when is the DNC convention, July 13th, still say no evidence of an ideology. So maybe it's not real or accurate. We don't know. Anyways, so the articles are weird. So here's one from WTAE. So FBI now believes the post on a gaming platform is fake. Earlier in the day, they thought it might be him. Trump was hitting the ear. FBI continues to look into it. So he's not even on Steam. So no social media presence at all. Now, this is also weird. We're noticing he was on a bike. Apparently, this is what it looked like with the backpack. So we don't know if he carried his firearm with him over his shoulder or what happened. We also are asking questions about this water tower. And this water tower has been raising some eyebrows. Here was one zoomed in link and clip that came from this guy, Stufan. And we got some new community notes on this. Yeah, so John Cullen is here posting about this. And we're watching what's happening on the water tower. Now, I'm being cautious I'm just sharing this with you. I advise caution on all this because there's fake stuff floating around out here. But what people are noticing is not necessarily that there's something at the top of this water tower. Like we're watching this location here. It's not really what we're concerned about it, but it looks like there's this figure up here, doesn't it, right here? So it's not only that there's this silver little cap on the top of the water tower, but it almost looks like, if you're zooming in on this guy zoomed in, difficult to see, but at 14 to 16 seconds, there's something black moving to the right over here, it sort of feels like. So we'll just play this and you see, really hard to tell. I'm sure the FBI has much better footage than we do, but it looks like maybe there's some movement right there, right where my mouse pointer is, right above that. Let's zoom that in. Is there something moving up there? Is that a person? Is that a silhouette of a person? Is it a shadow? Is it an artifact? Maybe. I don't know. It's like there might be something there. I don't know. Hard to tell. So people are asking about a second shooter. Where could that be? That is one thesis. We also have some more analysis. We have Joy Reid, the woman who I think is trying to be like Donald Trump with her hairdo. She says that it may not have even been an actual bullet. This is wild from her. She says the Trump assassination attempt was staged. It was probably glass or something, even though the Secret Service has now confirmed that it was absolutely a bullet. This is what Joy Reid sounds like as the newest conspiracy theorist in America.
We still don't know for sure whether Donald Trump was hit by a bullet.
We don't.
Whether he was hit by glass fragments.
We don't.
Whether he was hit by shrapnel. We don't have those details. We actually have no details from his physician, even though this man is still a Secret Service protected, presidential candidate. We know almost nothing. Why? Why don't we know that much? We know that 3 people were shot. 1 person, unfortunately, was killed at the rally. We don't know where they were sitting or standing relative to him.
We're learning more about that.
We don't know why.
But also, do you know why we don't know this? Your party's Secret Service director is not answering any questions. Your Homeland Security, not answering any questions. Your FBI director, you guys are hanging up on senators. They have to confront them in the middle of the RNC. So why don't your people come out? I'm all for transparency. We support that completely. But why aren't they coming out and telling us anything? Well, I think we know why.
For 9 full seconds, Donald Trump was allowed to stand back up during an active shooter situation, even though they at that point had said the shooter was down. How would they have known if there were more shooters or not? Nobody knew that there could have been 5 shooters.
That's
for all
right.
they knew.
Maybe
Yet
there
they
were.
allowed him to stand up in the middle of that, crisis.
Well, they said the shooter
and
was down.
pose for a photo and fist pump the air so he could get the iconic photo. And then they allowed him to stand up again outside of the SUV instead of just shoving him into the SUV. That seems really unusual. What is the actual injury to
What
Donald Trump's
happened?
ear that's under that bandage? Shouldn't we know that by now? It's weird. And there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of curiosity about it. In the sort of media world, my profession. It's weird, right?
Yeah, it's weird that you don't recognize he got shot in the head because everybody's confirming that. Even the Secret Service. So here was Ken Delanian. He is the Justice and Intelligence correspondent. In case there was any doubt about this, Joy, last night they came out per Julia Ainsley says that a Secret Service spokesman confirms Trump was struck by a bullet, okay, not a piece of glass. So the Secret Service themselves has confirmed this in case anybody has any doubt about it, but it's not glass. Michael Steele was talking about glass. We had Joy Reid now talking about glass, and they're just having a tough time accepting the fact that their demonization of this man has resulted in Trump getting shot in the head. They can't admit it. They don't want to admit it. It shatters their entire worldview and paradigm, and they're having a hard time reckoning with that. So here is more from the New York Times. They said, how is it possible that a gunman got so close to Trump? Times analysis is going to reveal more. And we know that the Times is a propaganda outlet for the Sullinger family and the CIA. About an hour before the gunman let loose a volley of bullets, law enforcement was on the verge of a great policing success. Thousands of people came out. Officers spotted one skinny young man acted oddly. They actually notified other law enforcement. Guess what? The Secret Service, too, was informed. The suspicious man did not appear to have a weapon. Now, remarkably, law enforcement got the guy. The guy's name was Thomas Crooks. He's a would-be assassin. Officers didn't know that, though. They lost track of him. Interesting, convenient. 20 minutes before the violence erupted, a sniper from a distance spotted Mr. Crooks again and took his picture 20 minutes. But as time slipped away, at least 2 local officers were pulled from a traffic detail to go search for him. But the Secret Service, the agency charged with protecting Trump, did not stop him from taking the stage. We have a loose, suspicious person. All good. We got it under control. Bring the president out. No problem. 8 minutes after Trump started to speak, bullets went out. So they know that there's a dangerous situation. They see him on a roof and take his picture. 20 minutes before, they take his picture. Then they lose him, go find him again. Bring Trump out anyways. Boom, he fires. We have dead people. So the call to let the rally go ahead was decided. Is one of many Secret Service decisions that is now being called into question. Another volitional act. Guy with a rangefinder, suspicious person, is a security risk, a security threat. Why'd you bring Trump out? Well, we know. The agency is also under scrutiny for allowing a building within a rifle range to be excluded for its perimeter. Senator Marsha Blackburn said, I'm appalled to learn that they knew about the threat. They brought him out anyways. Multiple investigations are underway. We know what is happening. We've covered all of the congressional inquiries. Ms. Cheadle sat down in an interview, said she takes full responsibility. On July 8th, before J13, an advanced team walked the site to assess security threats. Agents worked with local law enforcement to explain that they could handle it. Said the Secret Service would do what we do. Crucially, the Secret Service decided that a group of warehouses to the north of the stage would be excluded from the security zone. Who made that decision? Despite being about only 450 feet away, well within a rifle range, right? So Trump was speaking right here. They say this look how close this building is. It's crazy. It's crazy how close that is. And the dude is sitting right there. They let him onto the roof that close. That picture gives you the perspective how close that is. Now, that meant the warehouses were assigned to local law enforcement to secure. Wrong. Secret Service and the police had treated the complex of warehouses. The police say no, right? The police say, no, we told you we're not securing that building. Secret Service and the local police had treated the complex of warehouses as an observation post. It was considered a place to watch the crowd, not a place that needed to be watched. But that created a blind spot outside the security perimeter. It was exploited by a gunman with no military training and little subtlety. Okay, sure. Who showed up early and acted oddly enough that everybody even photographed this dude and distributed his picture. Okay, this guy's a problem. Find this guy. Here's his picture. They didn't have a weapon though. Butler County DA Richard Goldinger said, I don't know whose responsibility that building was, but somebody should have been there. And the Secret Service lied and said that they were there, but they weren't. Even if the Secret Service says, okay, I can see this. It's your job. The lines are crossed. Got it. But then they lied about it and said that they were actually there. And they said, we can't be there because we don't have the patrol vehicle or the manpower to do it. They notified Secret Service. Now, it was unclear how long in advance Crooks had prepared. Trump announced the rally on July 3rd, but in the aftermath, when the FBI was able to get access to his cell phones, he searched for images of Trump, Garland, Biden, and even Director Wray. He had also typed in major depressive disorder and searched for dates and places where Biden would be and where Trump would be. One of Trump's planned appearances happened to be about 50 miles from Crooks' house. On Friday, July 12th, the day before, Crooks went to a shooting range, according to an investigative summary prepared by the FBI. Next morning, he bought a ladder at a Home Depot. Then later that day, he purchased 50 rounds of ammo from a gun shop. In his car, a Hyundai Sonata, Crooks bought and brought the AR-15 style rifle bought by his father more than a decade earlier. He bought and brought 2 homemade bombs in which a potentially explosive mixture of fertilizer and fuel was packed inside empty ammunition cans that were roughly the size of a toolbox. Bombs were fitted with a remote control receiver. He brought that. Trump's rally in Butler, supposed to start at 5 p.m. He was an hour late on the stage. Crooks was there at 5:06. The video suggests that Crooks walked around in front of the building that he would eventually use as the perch. Unarmed, unhurried, just taking his time. Officer took a photo of him, spread it around, but they lost track. 20 minutes before the shooting, at some point, Crooks climbed onto the roof of a warehouse, building number 6, using interconnected corrugated metal buildings. The location had obvious advantages, a clear, elevated line of sight perfect for a sniper. Cheadle said no officers were stationed on the roof itself because of safety concerns arising from the roof slope, which is a lie, ridiculous, because they had snipers on the other roofs. Now, there was conflicting accounts of how Crooks got up there. A Secret Service spokesman said that he'd climbed up on the roof on his own, perhaps using an air conditioner, but federal investigators believe that he did not use a ladder, even though he brought one. Guy walks in with a ladder. 6:03, Trump appeared. 6 minutes later, with Trump now energetically speaking, witnesses noticed Mr. Crooks crawling into a position on the roof. They alerted officers who patrolled the area. Then it was 2 minutes before the shooting. On stage, Trump continued speaking. Around him, Secret Service contingent was frantically beginning to respond, shifting its focus from scanning the crowd to scanning the area north. They're all on their radios. The sprawling warehouse, the blind spot, was now everyone's focus. On a barn directly behind Trump, Secret Service counter sniper team quickly clambered from one side of the peaked roof to the other. Now they pointed their rifles at the warehouse about 450 feet to Trump's right. Crooks was on the warehouse roof, but it's unclear if the Secret Service counter snipers could even see him. The visual analysis showed that the view for these snipers was likely blocked by the gentle peak of the warehouse roof. Crooks was still hidden, low crawling on the other side. On the ground, officers from the small Butler Township Police Department had been assigned to direct traffic. That was their job. According to a social media post, at least 2 of the officers left their post to look for this guy. 2 officers went to the warehouse, one boosted each other up, looks up on the roof, oh man, turns their firearm, guy bails, injures himself. Crooks reached the peak of the warehouse, cops are shouting, witnesses are shouting, he's on the roof, he's got a gun. Then time was up. Crooks fired his rifle 8 times, they say. That's according to a Times analysis of audio from the scene. I don't think that's accurate, man. There's other analysis that we've covered here. 3 guns. If there were 9 shots and he fired 8 times, that's only 2 guns. His first shot appeared to graze Trump, blooding his ear. The other 2 rally-goers were injured, 50-year-old retired firefighter, and audio from other analysis say that there were 3 weapons. So how does he fire 8 if there's 9? Afterward, a Secret Service sniper on the South Barn killed him with 1 shot. That's all. Local police officer and another part of the area also fired at him, but it was unclear if the bullet struck Mr. Crooks. So how many shots did they fire? Okay, so it must be more than 9. We still don't know how many bullets there were. Yesterday, we had some audio analysis that there were 11 shots. That actually matches this. So these other cops fired 1 or 2, 10 or 11. When the police reached Mr. Crooks' body on the roof, he had no ID on him. Officers traced the serial number on the rifle to Dad. In the pocket, he carried a remote control for the car bombs. Not clear if he tried to use it, if the bombs were made well enough to explode. So we still don't know how many gunshots there were and who fired. At least 1 from a sniper. When we listened to the audio, it sounded like the first 3 were from the one, 5 from another, and 1 in return. 3 different weapons. And there's other reports that are confirming that. So interesting. Now we've got these interesting computer renderings that are out here, and take these for a grain of salt. Another one from Colin Rugg, who's doing awesome reporting on this. But he shared this graphic, which I think may have been created by the Times or some other entity. The graphic was from the New York Times, or from Fern on YouTube is where this came from. And so you can see people are trying to recreate it so we can get a visual on how this is working. Here is the graphic. So the shooter is on the roof and the bullets come in this direction, and we can see, yeah, it looks like it's not actually to scale at all, that bottom graphic, but you can get some visual on it. There's on the roof there. Okay, so interesting on that one. And then I came across another one which looked like this. And again, I don't think this one was quite accurate either, but this is from, again, Carly Bonney clipped this one. This is showing where all the shots went. Let's see what this looks like.
We think the shooter was. Trump was at the podium. Over there is where the people in the field, they were calling the police. They were telling Secret Service that there's a man on the roof crawling with a rifle, right? The police were looking for him. They were circling the building. There were cop cars over there. But all the while, he's crawling up to the top. Pay very close attention to this line of sight because it passes right over the first gentleman that got shot.
That looks about right.
And then right behind Trump in that corner, another shot hit that handrail, ricocheted, and bounced back, right? So just in that line of sight, you'll see. Now, behind Trump here, you see both snipers, and they're looking over here, right, at what was happening. But if you notice the trees, it was through those trees, right? The first shot goes off, right? It goes through, it hits the first gentleman. And as you see on that second handrail behind Trump, bounces, injures, and kills the second guy. Obviously, they kill him. That's that.
Take a look what happened.
So that's that second handrail there. And then that, you see that pops off. That guy gets escorted out. That's that same location right there. It's just the one shooter. And maybe the second, it's like one hits him, whizzes by Trump. If he only fired 3 shots, though, we need to know about that second gun. All right, so interesting recreations there all over the place. But what I think we can now gather is that the Secret Service was complicit in allowing this to happen. They had multiple opportunities to stop it. They allowed Trump to take the stage. They have the guy in sight as he's setting up to shoot Trump. And then they lied about it. They covered the whole thing up, blamed the local cops for it. So we're going to continue to cover this, my friends. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for subscribing wherever it is you're watching this. There's going to be a lot more here. Congress wants to get to the bottom of it, and they're liars and they're corrupt. And so more will be revealed. We're looking forward to getting into it with you. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you back here on the next one.